with that in mind, we don't have, by default in Matomo, there's no way for us to segment a visits based on who their first referrer was. But we're going to show you how to do that through using the live API and an XHR request. So just show you first of all how this works. So we've got, it starts with the client. So from the client, we get the visitor ID. I'll show you how that works in a minute. So we grab the visitor ID and we send that to the backend. I just have a PHP script that receives a post request with the visitor ID. The backend then sends that request to the Matomo live API. There is a live API module called it's live get visitor profile, and that's raw data, but it holds the visitor, the first referrer for a visitor in raw data. So that's accessible in real time. As soon as the visitor comes to your site, that data becomes available to you. Anything in the live API is almost available immediately. So we send the visitor ID to the Matomo Live API, and we request back the profile for that visitor. That profile gets sent back to the backend, and the backend simply parses the JSON data, and it finds the first referrer inside of that visitor profile. Once that's been parsed, then that referrer info gets sent back to the client. So we send the referrer name and the referrer URL in this example. Then from the client, once the client has that information, we trigger Matomo to track an event with custom dimensions. You can't just track custom dimensions in Matomo without an action afterwards, because custom dimension is it's appending attributes to an action. So we don't track an action after we set a custom dimension, nothing happens and nothing gets sent to Matomo. So for this example, we'll just track an event so that we are sure that the custom dimension gets appended to that event. And because we're using a visit scoped custom dimension, it will be applied to all the actions inside of this particular visit. So that's the workflow of how this works. And if I hit F12 and open my developer tools, I'll just refresh the page. I can see I'm echoing the visitor ID. This is just for example, so you know that you're actually grabbing it. And then I get this return information. So this is returned, first visitor type is direct, and the first URL is direct entry. In this case, there's no URL because I'm a direct entry. And then I can look at the event that was tracked after that, and you can see that it's tracking an event, but down below we've got the dimension 2 is direct. This is a visit scope dimension. So in dimension 3 is direct entry, and I'll show you how those are set up in the Matomo instance. So I've got dimension 2 is first referrer, and dimension 3 is first referrer URL. So if I were to go to my dashboard, I could create a segment, and I'll find those dimensions that I created in that segment. So first referrer, I'll just get the first referrer name. Is, in this case, I've only tracked to direct entry. And if I hit test on that, there's no data because I didn't track anything so far. This is yesterday's data. The test looks at yesterday's. However, if you have custom reports, you could test this in real time, because the custom reports preview uses raw data. So if I go to manage reports, create a report, and I'll just preview this. So in this case, I'll just get a simple dimension, which is visits, number of visits. And then I will also grab the first referrer.
Do you want visits in metrics? Maybe dimension should be like country or something?
Yeah, well, metrics would be like that. Those are quantitative, so they're numbers, right? So you wouldn't, because this is a referrer name, it can't be used as a metric. But we could do.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
We could do bounce rate, if you wanted to see how many times what the bounce rate was for them. And if I preview that, hopefully I'll see my visit. So yeah, I can see I came in to the site 4 times, and the first referrer was direct. You can also filter this custom report with the first referrer. In this case, we'll use first referrer is direct and preview the report. We'll see the same data, but that will just isolate a specific referrer if you want to create custom reports for it. So the data will be also available in segment reports by tomorrow, once the data has been processed. So that's, perhaps it'd be good to create a segment and then process it, so it's available by tomorrow. For the,
Is this a live website?
this is localhost. I can make it live.
Okay. No big
Yeah,
deal.
so it's sending. You can see the events there. So Matomo loaded, and it tracked a page view. This is set up in the tag manager, and then I've got the request to relay, and you can see the payload. So this is what I sent. I sent visitor ID as the value, or the key, and the value was the visitor ID. And then so that gets returned. I'll show you the script where this works. So I've got, this is the main index page. And so everything's normal here. I just got the Matomo tracking code. Where's Matomo tracking code? Come back. Sorry, wrong script. All right. So this is the script for the page. I've got my tag manager script here, which loads Matomo, and it also allows cookies, which cookies are important for this. Otherwise, you won't be able to send a visitor ID to the backend, and you wouldn't have any data to pull anyhow because you don't have the visitor ID. But yeah, so as long as you're using cookies, this method will work. Everything's normal on the site except down here is where the action happens. So this is an XHR request that sends as a post request to the backend. In this case, I called it relay.php. ChatGPT actually created the script. I gave it the specs. I said I want an XHR request that sends a post, the visitor ID as a post request to relay.php. It also created the relay.php script, which is here. So that's got my token, so everybody can write that down and have fun with my answers. So this is, yeah, so it's sending out to the live API, and that's the Git visitor profile. And so there's a sequence of events. So it creates the API request, it sends it out, and then this is where it's parsing through. I believe this is where it's parsing through the refer information, and it finally sends it back to the front end as a reply to the XHR request from the client. So the client sends the request.
And code available?
What's that?
Do you think we'll make this code available, like as a little file?
Yeah, why not? Sure. I don't know where, but yeah, we can make it available.
To make their Matomo do this, you need like 2 files so far, is what I see. So relay is completely your invention.
Yeah, you'll need the relay, and ChatGPT wrote this one as well. So you need the relay. This is the backend side that handles it, and this allows you to use your token auth without having to expose it to the client. You wouldn't want to make this call directly from the client because then you would have to expose your auth token. But because we just create a separate file on the backend, the client never sees that. It just sends the visitor ID, and then it just gets back their first refer. It doesn't see anything in between. It doesn't even have an idea of what's happening, other than it's sending a request to relay.php, and it's handling the response.
And what's the other PHP file?
This is just the index page, but it has in it the JavaScript that creates the XHR request. It gets sent to the backend.
So if someone wants to do this is the file they need.
Yeah, that's right. And they can use this file, and if they want to enhance it or use a different, they want to get different information off the live API, it's easy to do. They can even feed this file, feed the script into ChatGPT and say, modify this to track this, this, and this. You might have to give it a link to the reporting API as well to hopefully get a good response. But yeah, so that's, in a nutshell, that's how it works. I'll just go back to the flowchart so you can see the sequence of events again. But that's a pretty handy tool for people who want to track a dimension across visits for the same visitor, so that they can then grab all of the actions for that visitor, including their final conversion and some subsequent visit in their segment reports.